Buongiorno, buon pomeriggio, e buonasera, Lazio world. Welcome to our instant reaction pod, here to chat about Lazio, Genoa. I'm your host, Sean McIntosh, joined as almost always by my co-host, my good friend, Caleb Adams. Caleb, man, it's Genoa. I don't care. This was a blown lead. I don't care. A lot of maybe some issues still. I don't care. It's 3 points. It feels good. It's 3 goals. How are you feeling this Friday afternoon?
I mean, I'm honestly speechless after a win. I'm just ecstatic. I'm filled with joy. My weekend, weekends. I'm like, it's gonna be a good weekend, but I'm Lazio gonna lose, so it's gonna sour the weekend a bit. We got a snow coming in here in Charlotte, 4 inches of snow. It's gonna be a beautiful, snowy weekend for me. I'm gonna really enjoy this particular weekend. Knowing we've won, I'm thrilled. I'm really really happy, and I'm also not just happy because of the result, but I did see some things we can build off of, which I'm excited to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Most certainly some things that we can build off of. So let's jump in right off the bat. I'm ecstatic because the starting 11, despite some early predictions, thought maybe we'd have to see more of Dia and some of the same, and we can go on and on about maybe Sadi's stubbornness, but hey, right off the bat, we see Maldini in the starting 11. I'm thrilled about that, just to see a bit of a change. And look, a couple weeks ago, we saw Ratkov getting opportunities that we didn't think he would get. So is this a sign of Sadi maybe changing just a bit? Was happy to see that. Zaccagni out, injured. Seems like it may be precautionary, kind of pulled up with something in the final training. I believe it was yesterday. So we see Pedro, we see Isaacson back in the starting 11. Profsgaard as your starting center back next to Gila. Romagnoli completely out of the squad, was in Stadio Olimpico, one of the handful of people in the building to watch this one, but still a ton pending with him. Likely that he still played his last match for Lazio, but who the heck knows? And look, despite a couple changes here and Maldini and maybe a bit of extra quality on the pitch compared to Dia, it was still a bit slow to start, but we did see a bit quicker movements moving into attack. And, it still was not a ton, particularly in that first half. 35 minutes into this one, a really nice chip over Lazio's defense, finds Vitinha, who takes a diving header. Provedel, really well done to come out, make himself big, has to make the first big save in this match. 40th minute, Maldini whips in a really nice cross. Marusic gets a head on it, nice steam on it, gets a good solid head on that, but goes over the bar. I'm happy you start to see a little bit of chance creation. 48 minutes, Isaacson with some space. Takes it, has a crack, nice steam behind it, but relatively easy, but some signs of life. 53rd minute, Isaacson, it plays a nice little, he's in the box, plays this like chip into the box, catches a Genoa hand. I believe it comes off of a Genoa defender first, goes to VAR, pen given. Old man Pedro steps up and converts 1-0 Lazio. And then in the 62nd minute, Provedel, beautifully done, direct play, takes a bit of a bounce, missed time defending from Genoa. Isaacson does really good to stick with it, pounces, times it, bit of patience, sees a Taylor making a run. Really nice job, good instincts to get in the box. And then Taylor just places it perfectly in the corner. No denying it. 2-0 Lazio. And here we are, Caleb. We think we're good. 2-0. We have been such a stout defense. My goodness, there's no way we make this one difficult, right? Stupid me for thinking that. 65th minute, Mario Gila, what are you doing? Just stupidly makes a play using his arm to stop the ball. It's correctly given a pen. They convert. It's 2-1. And then 70th minute, there's a chance to maybe seal the deal, go up back to 2. Isaacson and Maldini on a counter. Nice bit of pace between them. It's a 2v1. Isaacson has a chance to play a through ball to make it easy for Maldini, essentially giving him a 1v1. Instead, plays this silly, awkward chip. And, Maldini could have also done his part to do a bit better, be quicker, maybe take a shot, but it's a wasted opportunity. We see some subs in the 73rd minute, Ratkov coming in for Maldini, Cancellieri for Pedro. Then in the 75th minute, it's an equalizer. Vitinha bags the second goal for Genoa. It's off of a corner. It's an attempted Olimpico, catches Provedel a bit, does fair enough to make the save, gets no support from his center backs, nobody there to clear the ball. They clean up play, and here we go again. It's one that we start to get really frustrated about. Some subs come in, some important subs. 81st minute, Nuno comes on for Pellegrini, Delebashiru for Taylor, and then Noslin for Isaacson. And 7 minutes of stoppage time given. We're late into this one, and a nice ball is played, and Ratkov just wonderfully done positionally, gets ahead on it. And I didn't think anything of it, didn't see anything. And all of a sudden, we hear it's going to VAR. The ref is getting VAR in his ears. He goes to video to check, and it's a clear handball, pen given. None other than our Cataldi steps up amidst the chaos. Genoa players trying to get in his head, disrupt him a bit. He's not having any of it, steps up, and it is perfectly buried into the corner. No keeper on this planet could have gotten a hand to it. It is Lazio 3-2. 3 points. Caleb, give me your 3 words to describe this one.
Man, much needed win. I mean, it didn't matter how it came. It didn't matter who it was against. It didn't matter if the fans were not there. We needed to win so bad for this group. Regardless of whether Sadi is here for the next season or so, this group of players is for the most part, right? And so I think specifically for them, specifically for the players, they really needed this to build confidence and trust between each other, to build camaraderie. Losing all the time, disappointing results, that can build a sour taste in a locker room. And I feel that this was just something to because this is now a gel of a lot of different people from the kind of the older guard, like guys like Sacagni, Romagnoli up until now, but even like Marusic, and then a lot of the new players coming in. I just thought that this was something that they really needed just as a unit of players, and that I hope they can use as a momentum and confidence builder for them long term.
My 3 words here in a rare event. You don't hear this often from me or anybody that watches Serie A. VAR done right. Mm-hmm. Kudos and credit to the officials, the refs. Fantastic job. For all the gripes that we've had this season, this was absolutely how you should be using VAR. In each one of those calls, if you're just kind of watching without any sort of replay, you probably missed the pen. And I thought they were fair. They were consistent in how they called it, particularly that last one. I had no idea, wasn't thinking. Literally was just like, okay, nice job, man, Ratkov, like way to get there, get ahead on it. And wouldn't have thought twice. And he's called. The ref, no ego, goes to video, didn't catch it himself, makes the right call. The penalty against us, absolutely the right call. Had no idea. Again, just in first glance, had no idea that Gila had positioned his hand that way.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
happened, and I was like, that's a pen. Now, we've seen that not given, but it's absolutely a stone cold penalty. I just hats off. Like in any match, there's going to be times when there's some gripes, the moments, but it was a fair match, and it's just brilliant use of VAR, and would love to see more consistency in how it's used. And today, all I can do is tip my hat. 3 pens in totality for everybody, 2 for us, 1 for Genoa. All the right calls there. So great use of VAR.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the team. Really efficient. One of the better uses of VAR just globally. I've seen it in the Prem. I've seen it in MLS, and it's been shocking at times. But it was refreshing to see a good. We're already struggling as it is. We've also had complete referee shocking decisions made against us. In addition to us, with everything going against us this season, but it's nice to see a game where you don't feel the refs play. The refs played a big role, but it played a role that they need to be playing. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Like we've had so many games this season. It's like, yeah, we lost. It sucks. We didn't play well, but also the referees are such a huge impact in that loss that it's like, right? Like it's just difficult to walk away from something. If we play like trash and lose, we will say we were just trash and deserve to lose. But it was nice to watch a game. Referees were not a factor, which is crazy to say because there were 3 penalty decisions, but they weren't a factor that influenced the game or swung it one way crazy the other when it shouldn't have been that big of an impact, right?
Yep.
They did exactly what they needed to do, did the job. Will I say Lazio deserved the win? I think so. I think we were second half was better. I thought the substitutes really well. We can go into selections and substitutes and some of the things we saw here.
Yeah, well, look, let's talk about it. I think for me, early on, what I saw, while there were still some frustrations, I think, you said it best. I think what we saw is that there was at least something to build off of. Rusty, new parts, like without Zaccagni, with Pedro in there, who hasn't gotten a ton of playing time, with Maldini in a new role, new club, only a couple days of training, Profsgaard all of a sudden inserted, the most consistency we've had across the past 3 to 4 years is Romagnoli, and he's not there. So you have all of this, right? Never mind the fact that Taylor is still getting adjusted to this side. But what we saw today was a bit of life, particularly in some moments. Ton of praise for me for Pedro, who came in and, big shoes to fill. Zaccagni is our most important attacking player, and there's such a big responsibility on his shoulders, and they both play very different stages of their career. But I thought Pedro came in and really helped unlock some things, and it just put more questions behind Genoa on how they had to defend, and they had to pay attention, and he'd be more central, he'd be out wide. Super crafty today. He seemed to be very much on his game. And then you saw the quality of a Maldini, especially when you compare him to Dia. I mean, Maldini was a cup of ice cold water for an attack that has been 40 years in a desert. And so it was refreshing. You saw some of the potential, and we want it to be better. Again, let's take a look at the stats. I think to your question, like, did we deserve to win? I think so. Look, 55% possession to 45. We didn't just crush them in possession. Expected goals 2.0 to 1.58. Not a huge gap there. They actually outshot us. 16 shots to our 14. 4 shots on frame for both sides. We had 3 big chances. They had 2. So again, you don't want it to be that close against Genoa. But this is where we are. This is the reality. We are far removed from pretending like we are a Champions League level squad. And so I thought, this is what we're going to have to do. This is our level right now. And this is also just a new squad integrating. So I'm happy in that I saw enough there that could get me buying in and hopeful that they continue to grow versus it just being a sad state of affairs. And sure, it took some penalties, but we did have to earn the penalties compared to last week, where forget about it. When were we even in the box? So yeah, I was happy. I was Maldini didn't come in and kind of shock the world. It wasn't like a great performance, but I saw enough there that I can at least be a bit hopeful. What about you?
Yeah, and this is something that I've been trying to. I know things are quite negative within the scene and with the roster turnover. Selling guys like that, me, I was a big Tati fan. I thought we made the right choice to sell him. Um, but I don't think this is a relegation quality team. Like I think we have some ability here. I think we have some players that can play. And this is, keep in mind, this is without Zaccagni and without Ravella. I particularly when Noslin and Tavares came in and how the team combined and the moments we had in build up and the runs Taylor was making. Um, I just think to what if Zaccagni and Ravella, they only up the tempo of the team. Cataldi did his job, but at the same time, Ravella plays at a quicker tempo. And I just thought, man, this is. I mean, if we can get this group clicking, like we have some more technical ability with Taylor out there. It's a big bummer to me that Noslin is not being seen as a long-term project or player for Lazio. I really hope, I really, 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 really hope, because clearly Fabiani and Lotito do not care to sign players for Saudi right now. Like they have their own sort of mission, planning project in their mind. And I'm okay with that. If you see Saudi leaving at the end of the season, we shouldn't be making decisions based on Saudi. So with that said, is getting rid of Noslin something that's being done because Saudi doesn't rate him and we just want to just build up some capital? If that's the case, I hope we reconsider. I think Noslin can be a player for us. We saw how Lively came in on that particular penalty that they gave to Ratkov. Noslin made an incredible solo run to then give it to Cancellieri and then have that cross come in. But I think we have some decent players. I'm not saying we're a Napoli, we're Inter, we're a Milan in quality, but this is a team that can give people trouble if once they build chemistry, once they have a system that suits them better. And I'm looking forward to seeing how these young players adapt and continue to grow, because ultimately having younger players, there's a natural hunger that comes with that. Even if your coach stays the same, even if the vibes are not great, young players want to come in and prove themselves. And I hope that continues to keep inspiring and motivating the group to keep going at it, right? Keep trying to improve, bring some fresh ideas on the pitch, off the pitch. So I think there's hope here. It's just the sooner we can get this team clicking and get wins together and connecting, the better for anyone, regardless of coach, regardless of next season what comes along.
Yeah. Well, we've seen so a couple things to answer the different questions. I do not believe that Fabiani and Lotito are doing anything with Sadi in mind.
Yeah,
I think that's
100%.
been absolutely clear.
100%.
So if they move Noslin out, I think that is just what that's their prerogative.
That's fair, yeah.
I do think we have seen I think we have now an injection of technical ability that we haven't seen in the side, a couple weeks ago, particularly when we were injured and you're like, man, we've got a midfield that is devoid of any sort of real ability. And then in the attack, like, forget about it.
Yeah.
Today, we know Taylor has legitimate quality, and we've seen that since the day he stepped onto the field.
Yeah.
We now know Maldini has quality. Now, at what level? There's always a question about his position. There's a question of his consistency, which Sadi came out and quoted to as well. Sadi quoted saying, he knows that like Maldini has quality. It's about his consistency, which has kind of held him back. And today was one thing that you can't deny, bit of technical quality that you see. How that's going to translate and what role he's going to play. But at least we saw a bit. And then Pedro, we know he has class and quality. We haven't gotten to see it this season, but to be fair, he hasn't gotten the opportunities that he did last year, and we've always been in really like bad positions when we've thrown him out. So a chance to start from the gun. We saw him play really well today, and credit to Isaacson. We've said this about Isaacson. He runs hot and cold, and I said it last podcast. Like, you got to bench Cancellieri. Isaacson has to start.
Yep.
He started today, and it was a better Isaacson. So today it was like, okay, there's a little bit more. And credit to Sadi, because I was happy with the players he played. I was happy with the substitutions right from the jump. I was worried. I know you had the same fear. Like, God, please don't play Dia. Like, is he going to do it again? And he didn't. And not only did he not play Dia, he played Ratkov. He started with Maldini. He subbed in Ratkov. I was very happy with that. Very happy that he started Isaacson, even though it seems like, man, he's kind of leaning toward Cancellieri being his guy. Like, is he going to make the change? Made the change. Happy with it. Been clamoring for Nuno. All right, he throws Nuno into the match, right?
Yeah.
He still gave Noslin an opportunity. So as much as you and I are like, man, he hates Noslin. What is going on? All right, he threw Noslin in there. Noslin made a positive impact, an important player in today's match. So for all the gripes that we can have, I was very happy with his substitutions. And look, maybe all I can do is be hopeful about the unknown. Maybe this is him saying, okay, now that I have a better picture of this transfer market, right? Nuno on the verge of going to Besiktas, on the verge rumored here. Maybe now that it's settled, it's still got to close. Anything could happen. But maybe he's thinking, hey, he's going to be here. Let's reintegrate him into the squad. So, yeah, I was very happy with squad selection today and the substitutions that ultimately made the change in this one. So, who'd you have as your man of the match?
Yeah, man, this is a tough one. I thought there were some pretty bright spots for different players across the board, but this is really tough for me. Part of me wants to give it to Cataldi simply for having a solid game, coming up big with the penalty goal, with the penalty there. But there was also times where I was a little frustrated with his passing. I think Isaacson and Taylor both have cases for it. But I think I'm gonna go with Isaacson as my man of the match. And he has some dumb flicks and stuff in the game, but I really thought Isaacson was kind of leading the line. Like he came in, he looked like a man on a mission. I thought him and Pedri together had really good moments. Knew when, Pedro was coming in the middle often. Isaacson knew when to peel off, when to make a run. Was really patient in his goal. He was consistently threatening throughout the game. I'm gonna give it to Isaacson for this match.
Yeah. Look, you touched on pretty much every player, right? There's, as you said, Cataldi. I mean, what a clutch pen. You're late into the 100th minute. So much pressure on top of that. Genoa is trying to distract you. Players are coming up to him. There's no curva. There's no fans in the building. You could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
And you've got to step up and take that with all the chaos. And so there's a ton of kudos for that. Pedro absolutely deserves a shout.
Yeah.
And you talk about the weight of on Zaccagni's shoulders, and now he's out, and Pedro's got to go in, and just like a class veteran, doesn't blink an eye, comes in there, unlocks some things, creates something. Really, really liked what I saw from Pedro today. But I like you. I'm going to give it to Isaacson because credit when credit is due. He absolutely deserved it. A couple silly moments from him, not just the failed pass to Maldini on that counter, but then he did the same weird little flick thing in his own defensive end where he plays this ball to Marusic, almost gets us in trouble. But it's his directness. He kept fighting for balls. He was so direct. He creates a penalty. He lays off a nice ball to Taylor. absolutely an impactful player. We do not win this match without Isaacson
Yeah,
playing the way
100%.
that he did. If I think if we start with the Cancellieri instead of Isaacson, we lose today, and we have a
Mhm.
much more stagnant attack. And so for that reason, I've got to give it to him. And then I also want to shout out Pellegrini because I did think he played really, really well early in the match. Thought he was combining nicely with Pedro. It's such a different attack. Obviously, this is nowhere near what we saw with a healthy, strong Nuno and Zaccani down that left side. But
Yeah.
I thought those two had a like pretty valiant effort to hold some things down for us. So all in all, like pretty solid from everybody.
Yeah.
Playing their roles and doing enough that I think we could build off of.
Yeah, for me, it was more so just a, we've had a lot of games this season where it's like everyone just like playing at a level of 5 out of 10. Everyone just fives, and you're like, I don't even know who the worst player was. It just was really mid across the board. I thought this game was a more of the positive end of that. I thought most players put in 6 or 7 shifts. No one was particularly spectacular, but when the whole team is playing, at above average, good level, you're just bigger chance of getting results.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we got goals out of it, whether they come from pens or not. Those goals were created because of either individual attacking players, like the case of Isaacson, or just really nice like combination plays.
Mhm.
Cancellieri playing a ball in and Ratkov doing his thing and going up for it. So again, maybe the expectation is so low, but all we can do is see some glimpses, build off of that. No match can we take for granted, regardless of opponent. And so hopefully, you see Maldini grow and start to understand his place here. I did think there was a bit more directiveness out of us than at least last week.
100%. Mhm.
Your bidone. I'm gonna guess we're gonna be on the same page here, but
I don't know. Maybe not. My
okay.
thought was actually Basic.
Oh, okay. Wow. I've got Gila. So
No, like Gila, yeah, 100%. I thought he was quite bad. But I went with Basic because when I was thinking of the team as a whole, two names stood out to me. It was Basic and Gila that were really quite poor for me, and I figured you would say Gila, so I'm gonna go with Basic because I really thought, and you've talked about this. We talked in the private chats, like, man, we really need to upgrade the Basic. We need someone that can come in and be a little better, a better version of Basic. Like he's good, enough for Serie A level, but ideally he's a guy like Cataldi that's coming off the bench that can come in and rotate players. I thought he was really wasteful with the ball today. The shots he took were dumb. I really thought he provided nothing. I think he was a liability in possession. And as soon as he came off, I thought our attack also just started to get better and improve. I immediately saw the effect of him coming off, and so for that reason, I had Basic because I thought Taylor and Katadi had solid games, but yeah, the team improved when he got off the pitch, and I was just disappointed in some of the shot selections, the lack of kind of ability to progress the ball. But yeah, Gila is probably the bigger culprit of this match. But feel free to talk about him.
yeah, well, no, just on the Bosic point, it's exactly why I said we need another Mitsala, we need another midfielder. That's everything for us. And you see what somebody like Taylor can do. Unfortunately, Taylor should have been the complement for a Gendouzi. And Basic, we've said, what a great story. And we'll joke about it and we'll call him Sergei Milinkovic Basic, but he's just not. If we want to get back to a place where we are in Champions League, he is a depth piece. And listen, we have to hope that he's even a depth piece. There's a reality in which it all comes crashing down. And we had a brief spell where he was that level of a player.
Yeah, true.
We need to see that for a much more extended period of time before we're like, okay, he is a Serie A player. He's a squad player. He's a depth piece.
Yeah.
But otherwise we're going to have to rely on others really playing at a much higher level. So I think that's that piece that we need in this transfer market. It all changes based on who we get rid of. If you lose a Nuno, we know outside backs, like we need something there. But for me personally, my priority would be a legitimate Mezzala that really rounds out our midfield. Like that is what we need. I go back to thinking about when Lazio was competing, the year that we were kind of battling for a Scudetto. We had one of the strongest midfields in Serie A. I mean, we had a midfield that was Lucas Leiva, and then you've got Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, Luis Alberto, like real quality that also just fit perfectly together. They complemented. You had a little bit of everything. So that's for me. If we're going to invest in anything and do something before the market closes, I would like to see that. But yeah, I mean, Gila, look, not his best performance, obviously at fault for a penalty. It's not, what can you say? Like, I get a little bit worried. Is that, you see what happens without Romagnoli and how important he is just to create that level. All of a sudden we don't have Romagnoli and we concede 2 goals. Right?
Well, I'll add to this. This isn't out of character for Gila.
For sure.
This is very much in character with Gila. And, this is the difference between a Romagnoli and a Gila. Gila may have all the speed, the strength, the agility, the lateral movement, but his decision-making and sometimes just like boneheadedness is game costing at times.
Yeah, it's because I think he, Romagnoli, we've said this time and time again, allows him to be the type of player he wants to be. And maybe he buys into his physical attributes too much. Hey, I know that I can charge up the field and play a high line, get involved in the attack for 2 reasons. I've got insane left back pace as a center back, and I'll recover. And 2, I've got Romagnoli behind me who'll make sure things are solid. And so now it'll be interesting to see, can he really step up and grow as a leader? Because he's got a kid next to him in Profsgaard. So
but for me, the issue isn't even that aggressive style of his. The issue for me, like today, I thought Profsgaard and Gila were quite complimentary. I thought that Profsgaard covered quite well. Profsgaard had a big block early on in the game. We came across to cover for Gila. I thought, you could argue maybe he could have put a better block on that sort of rebounded shot on the goal they scored for the second. But for the issue with Gila isn't so much his aggressive style of play. It's just when he decides to tackle, when he decides to lunge, when, what I'm saying? It isn't even the aggressive part that hurts him. It's just the moments of there's no reason to go for a tackle. Like on that shot is a great example. The guy shoots it. There are about 3 or 4 bodies in front of that. Like the odds of that shot going in are minimal. And I appreciate the effort of trying to put a body on it. But trust your keeper. Like just recognizing like, hey, the window is here so slim for it to go in goal. With how far I am, you're either going to get a handball or a deflection back into goal and make it harder for Providel. It's that stuff that hurts Gila. The aggressive part, like you said, he's actually able to get away with a lot because of his speed and nature. It's the mental aspect of understanding, hey, I shouldn't go for the slide tackle here. Hey, let me trust my keeper. Hey, let me trust my teammate to come and cover for me. Hey, it's the stuff like that concerns me about Gila. And this is stuff that's happened even with Romagnoli beside him. How many dumb penalties does he concede with Romagnoli right there beside him? I mean, quite a bit. Like these are mistakes that Romagnoli on or off the pitch, he has made. And I don't think it's so much because Profsgaard was on the field today, but that's just Gila's nature and something that we've seen in him. But anyways, I overall though, I know we conceded 2 goals, but overall I felt quite comfortable throughout the game with our back line for the most part.
Yeah, because the goals weren't conceded by run of play, right? Like one's off of a corner. again, we've got to button those up a bit. And then the other one is a penalty, which comes from, again, a bit of a foolish decision on Gila's part. But yeah, I think, again, maybe harsh, but yeah, I thought he's going to he has to be the leader of the back line now. It's on him. So I think what we'll see from this back half of the season is a true indication of, is Gila now, is he capable of taking that next step as a truly great center back, as a leader of a back line? We'll see. I think he still has all the qualities.
I also wonder, the only thing I can think of that Profsgaard would really impact Gila's game is if Gila feels he needs to be the hero all the time. Right? I wonder if that's gonna, if anything's gonna affect Gila's play with Profsgaard being on the pitch. The only thing I can think of is, hey, I'm the man now at center back. Like, maybe I need to overcompensate.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to take instruction. You're going to take instruction from Romagnoli over a kid, right? So right. Who knows? We don't know. We don't know the type of player that he is without Romagnoli. You hope that he can either rein some of this in and be a little bit more cautious, or it goes the other way, to your point, and it's like he doesn't have somebody saying and kind of positionally and just a leader in the back line. Like, he has to be that now, so he'll have more flexibility to do maybe what he wants. But we'll see. I think this for him personally, career-wise, because I think strong indications he's leaving in the summer. But if he really wants to take that next step, I know he was linked to Milan, was talking to a couple of Milan friends that I've got, and it's like, dude, I think he has every tool to be world class. He just has to tidy some things up and be a little bit smarter with how he uses his world-class physical attributes. But man, he can play with the ball at his feet like the best. Like he can be a CDM if he wanted to. And he could be an outside back with his pace. And so he's got the physical tools. It's just going to be interesting to see, again, assuming Romagnoli's gone, can he kind of step up mentally as the leader? But yeah, but I agree on the points of Basic. I think we really do need an upgrade there. He can come in. He's got a nice shot on him. He's got a decent set piece. So he's most certainly a useful player. But got a couple days here. I think what we'll do is here, once the market closes, we'll look to host a special episode with some Laziali friends of ours from around the world, do a little bit of a panel, some debates. We'll talk Sadi, state of the club. Today, for those that were living under a rock or maybe not tuned in to Lazio, we had a couple hundred fans in the building tonight, and incredible response from supporters boycotting this match. Shout out to Sadi. He knows what to say when it comes to the fans.
He's a master politician,
bro. He's so good at that, which is crazy because he's he's known for just saying what he wants.
Being blunt, yeah.
And so I think that's genuine because he's only ever been one way.
Yeah.
He doesn't care how he comes across. So appreciate this. He's always backs the fans. We get a question here on YouTube from Matt asking if Rovella is done for the year. He's not. He was in the squad today. You actually saw him warming up on the sideline, took a knock, so wasn't available last match, was available today. I think Sadi just got it right from a squad selection standpoint today, even by not putting in Rovella. We saw it too many times, risking it. So good news is that he is back. Wasn't risked today. We hope to see him very, very soon. It's just going to upgrade this squad. So hopefully has a strong couple months down the stretch. So any final words, Caleb?
I hope we ride this wave. Hope we start putting together some results, have a strong end of the season. Regardless what happens at coaching or transfers, I just want this group to get reps together, get confidence, build a belief within the group, and hopefully we can have more positive podcasts.
Well, look, we've got a little over a week. February 8th, we play Juve. So what a test that'll be. And
They're
for
in
those
form
that
too.
don't remember, it seems like a lifetime ago, but back in October, we had a 1-0 win over Juve. And this is a different Juventus. Now they've got Spalletti at the helm. They are flying high. They're playing a much different style than we are. But hey, what the hell, right? Whether it's Genoa or Juve, let's put the boys to the test. Let's see what we can do. And sempre forza Lazio.